Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts like the charts behind me, which include here AMC, also GameStop, and I was also curious to look over at Chewy and Petco or WOOF. Just because there's been some, violent moves to the upsides with them, so I thought it'd be interesting to go over those charts. Was hoping to do a video on them earlier today, but I just didn't have enough time. And yeah, this stream is probably going to be just about an hour long, a little bit shorter than normal, but really that's like the normal length I intend them to be. I'm just not feeling that great, and I also do want to watch House of the Dragon. So, I'll take as many requests as I can in the time being. And yeah, and then I'll put timestamps on this, hopefully, tonight before I go to bed. So yeah, it should be, all the tickers should be easily accessible to you guys. And I also did want to note before I jump into the charts, going over here to the channel memberships, there are now 3 members to the channel, and I did want to point out that there are 2 tiers or grades to the channel. And actually, this B plus one that's 99 cents, I've added members only live streams to that, which is really the only additional perk that existed for the 199 one. The reason why I did that is because there just weren't that many members. So if you guys would like to join, become members, I haven't done many. I tried to do one members only live stream, but nobody showed up. But yeah, I would like to do more members only stuff. And yeah, as the channel grows, I'll just kind of experiment with that. Happy to take suggestions with it. But this is also, just kind of a nice way to support the channel as well. But yeah, if you did want to become a member, 99 cents gets you access to everything. 199. I expected it to be more popular, so I had 2 tiers, and actually YouTube recommended offering at least 3 price levels has shown to boost revenue. So I started with 2. I only needed to have 1, so 99 cents, that gets you everything. Just wanted to point that out since tomorrow is the start of the new month. I'm not sure exactly how those memberships renew, but just wanted to throw it out there. And I should note, before I get into the charts, I'm going to be on vacation in about a week, and so my plan for that, I'm probably not going to be putting out too many videos, but I am going to be putting out members-only shorts. So basically, it's just going to be like an AMA. You guys can ask me questions about stocks, what I'm doing, anything like that. Very little off the table, but just like a casual way for us to connect. So if you did want to, keep in touch while I'm not charting as much as I normally do, there will be members only shorts that I'll be putting out at least 1 a day, I imagine, just trying to get more familiar with shorts and just to, have a benefit to members there. But yeah, I'm just going to go over these charts that are here. If you guys do have a request, I do see that there are some people here watching, and so just let me know if there's a ticker you want me to go over. I'd be happy to. But yeah, WOOF was mentioned in one of the comments, something about Roaring Kitty having a position in WOOF, which, I'm not really that familiar with. My impression, my understanding was that he is just focused on GameStop. He likes the stock. And so I wasn't too familiar with other stocks that are in his portfolio. I'm not paying attention too much of that. But he did post that dog meme, which I think was actually just related to a video that he put out leading up to 4th of July. So I think it might be a pretty exciting week based on his cryptic memes. But, there is some interpretation that maybe he's referring to Petco or Chewy. And so it looks like Petco or WOOF here went up 13% on Friday, so pretty nice. Does look like there was this, let's see, wow, these levels, I drew these, I can't remember when I drew them, during a live stream a while ago, I imagine, but they are, I'm just going to make sure that they are to the penny. Yep, exactly to the fraction of the penny, actually. And so we can see that price initially here pulled back to the 236, but broke lower. And it does look like it's found support at the 382, which is like $3.25. The low on Thursday was, let's see, $3.18, getting a wick below, but open and close above. Hey, Jose, what's up? How's it going? And yeah, and then on Friday, just massive green candle actually closing above Thursday's high. So that looks pretty good. Looks like the 236 was reclaimed. So I could see this one hanging out around 368, which is the 236, maybe form a bull flag before make another attempt at 438, or really just breaking above $4 a share. That was a level that we got some closes above. Looks like 2 closes, I guess, above. One at 412, another one at 413. But then these other candles, this one closed, that little red one closed at 398. So yeah, couldn't really hold $4. So I could see that happening if we are able to hold 368. So looking pretty good there. And yeah, I will add Mullen to the list. No problem, Jose. Got that on there for you. And Dylan, I see that you got NNE. Somebody was recently talking about this, so add it up there, no problem. Yeah, so I'm just going to go over Chewy real quick. Just maybe I'll do videos on those tomorrow, but I'm not really sure. Just to see kind of what, is looking good. Whenever there are big moves like this, whether Chewy here with this big, went up. Man, let's see. I got to take a measurement of that because it closed just about where it opened. It went up 35%. But then if you look at the trading for that day, it actually went down. It might be a green candle there, but it came down relative to the previous day's close by about 0.31%. So, for me, it's kind of tough. I missed the hype around Chewy as far as making a video about it. I was just preoccupied with, I think work or just other stuff. I'm not really sure. I think I was at work. It was Thursday. And same with WOOF. I guess I could have done a video on Friday, but nobody likes to hear that something's coming down. So I find that when I do make videos like that, like SoFi, people get kind of pissed off at me when I do videos on how I think it's going to 6. Everybody just wants to hear that their stock is going higher. And so right now with these two, I kind of feel like, I missed the hype as far as the excitement goes, stuff like that. And but it closed 27.24. That's just below 27.33, which it looks like there was a gap there. Yeah, it's based on the close over here. So, not too surprising that we were met with resistance there. We also, I can't remember the last time I looked at Chewy. Probably the last video that I put out, I drew this Fibonacci here and included that 1618 at 31.76. And, we got a wick above, but, closed below it. So I think that's pretty interesting. And, pulling back to $25 is basically the high over here. It's 25.24. So, yeah, I could see that just because there was, this gap down here. People were probably, this is leading up to earnings. I imagine earnings was in the after hours on August 30th. And so prices going up before earnings, from the low here up till, let's see, the close there. It's up 8, almost 10, just about 10% from the low to the high there. And people are thinking, oh, it's going to keep going higher. So they buy shares right before earnings. And then it gaps down and people say, oh, well, I'll just hold the bag. I'm sure it's going to bounce higher. Then it breaks down. And so those people are just left holding the bag at 27.33 for more than half a year. Let's just get a measurement on that time frame. That represents about 300 days, 205 trading days of holding the bag. And so those people, I would imagine likely trimmed up here, if not right around their break even, just because they've been holding bags so long. They lost their conviction. And so, yeah, it's not surprising that there was resistance there. So I think it would be nice, the retrace to the scene of the crime, that will be coming back to around $25, or to be precise, the high over here was 25.24. And so I could see price returning to that, maybe settling there. And then from that, we could reassess, is it going to hold and then maybe go higher, get another attempt at 32, getting an attempt at 40, really, because it hit a high of 39.10, or is it going to break lower? And so I think some consolidation just above 25 would actually be really good for Chewy. And we can see here, looking at the volume, a lot of volume traded, but it just ended up being, price more or less staying flat on the day. So kind of surprising there. On this day, the 29th, we got volume traded of 66.6 million shares traded, and we got 64.4 million shares traded. Price was higher. Price went way higher, but not enough buyers to hold the price up this high. It just went up and then came back down. So yeah, with that, I could see it pulling down to like 25, I'd say. But yeah, I will check over on the requests and I will go over Mullen, which it's been a while since I gone over this. I did this Fibonacci extension kind of thinking that I guess it was probably around the time. So it was the 30th and we have the 31st. And so, yeah, this was the Friday, I guess, the 31st. And then the June 3rd was a Monday, so I would have done this on a Sunday night stream probably, assuming that was the bottom, and that is not what happened to be the case. As we can see, we did break down to, this low is still, I believe, the all-time low, $2.35.7, which was hit on April 22nd. Now trading effectively at that price again, closed the week last week and closed the month, at $2.40. So I might just take a look over at the monthly chart to see what that looks like. Yeah, this is just not looking so good. And this is, these are monthly candles and closing above that low. So maybe that's encouraging that there's a bottom in. We can also see that volume has really faded. So maybe we could start to see it flatten out and maybe get a reversal over the course of the month of July. Looking at this on the weekly time frame, almost a bearish engulfing candle, but didn't really engulf the top portion of that candle from the previous week. But over the course of the week came down almost 10.5%, so not looking so great there. But then on the daily, bearish engulfing candle with this gap down too. So this bearish engulfing candle, while it didn't get all of the trading from these 2 days, it did engulf all of the trading that took place within the open and close of those days, the body of those candles. So not looking too great there. Volume again coming down. So there's not enough push to the upside. Even when we get this, I guess Thursday was kind of a tell that there wasn't much behind it, because we get this gap down and then price pushes up. So there's more volume traded there. And then we get a bullish engulfing candle on Thursday, goes up to almost 2.5% on the day, but volume is pretty small. So here on Wednesday, it was 1.67 million. Thursday, a little over 1 million. And then Friday, less than 1 million. And so, yeah, I think that suggests to me that, if we have price coming down massively and volumes going up, that would mean that, I guess with volume being kind of tame here, maybe this is at or approaching a bottom. So I guess what I'd really look for over the course of the next week is we don't want to see any closes below 236. I think that Mullen is really just a risky stock to begin with. I feel like I've really kind of step back a little bit from the EV stocks after seeing, or at least feeling like they're a little bit more risky just after what happened with Fisker, reminding me of what had happened with Lordstown Motors, and just feeling like, kind of the same thing might be happening with Polestar. I think Mullen is also a pretty risky one. Market cap of 38.5 million, so it's pretty small for an EV stock. But let's see, an EV company, I should say. And but what I might do is I might delete this retracement because I don't really, maybe I wanted to keep that one, but omit this one. I'm not sure. No, I think I want to delete both of them. So with both of those cleared off, really, it's just like 235.7 or the low over here, 236. We don't want to see closes below those. Wicks below, that's fine as long as we don't get closes below. Maybe a bottoms in. But, after, let's see. wasn't there like a reverse split over here? 1 for 100. And, following that, price went up to high of 1870, then on, almost couldn't even really get to 18 and hold that. And so it's really just been a pretty bleak outlook. So I'd be cautious with it. But, you guys do you. And so I might adjust this to maybe suggest that this is still potentially in a falling wedge pattern. Fake out break here. I mean, I could adjust this line, wiggle it around a little bit. But, getting to the base of that wedge, that's getting down to sub $1. I mean, just getting down to where the wedge is right now. Let's see. I'm just trying to cross that. That's right around $1 getting to the bottom of that. So, yeah, I mean, no closes below 236. If that happens, I suspect it's going lower. If we do look at the RSI here, we see higher low, so that's good, but we also see a higher low in the stock price. That could very easily break lower, given that the low was just a fraction of a penny above the low here. And with that being said, if price does break lower than 235.7, that's putting in a lower low with the price. If the RSI is staying above 2210, that was the low hit on April 22nd. If it stays above that, that's then putting in a higher low at the RSI relative to that lower low in the stock price. That would then be bullish divergence. So maybe there could be a break to the upside. But with bullish divergence, I feel like it's really like there need to be multiple factors, multiple indicators or signs suggesting that a bottom or a top is in, a reversal is in, or is due, I should say. And so I think that this just looks very precarious. And yeah, I mean, seeing this from, just the highs over here, this was 7, above 7. Up from there, price has come down, about 70%. So do trade carefully. Maybe, though, there is double bottom potential here around 236. But, I mean, we had double bottom potential over here, with the low from the reverse split date. And then we, retested it over here. Bounced a little bit, but, the reward from buying this level, let's say you bought exactly at that low, that was 42% swing to the upside. So maybe that's worth it. But the downside risk was, like 65%. That actually does correspond pretty nicely with the highs over here. So, yeah, I'd be cautious with it. I think that I'm staying away from it, but 236, keep an eye on that. Holding no closes below it. So hopefully that's helpful. And Plug and Sweet Lovely, yes, happy to. Oh, and Sonata, I will definitely check GOEV as well, Canoo. So hopefully that was helpful with Mullen. I will add GOEV up here, and I will add Plug. I did just put out a video on Plug, so I'd recommend checking that out, but I can go over it real quickly. GROV, I'm not sure what that one is. So yeah, I'll look at that as well. And I'm just going to clean up the ones that I have gone over here. Went over Chewy, went over WOOF, and I just went over Mullen, so I'm going to delete that. And since, I do have AMC and GameStop up here, I'm just going to check on Robinhood very casually on my phone what the overnight price is of GameStop. As I imagine it's trading. It looks like it's up about 0.5%. It looks like 0.49%, which translates to 12 cents in the overnight trading, which, it's still trading below $25 a share. It looks like it's at $24.83 now, actually up 0.57%. But I would caution against or caution about overnight trading that is facilitated by Robinhood. So I think to begin with, that's a little sketchy. Also, if one is to be trading, whether that's overnight trading, pre-market, after hours, use limit orders, because I've heard stories and seen evidence or screenshots of orders being filled at prices way above the current price, and those are buy orders. So make sure, if one is trying to get some more GME or, whatever stock, use limit orders. There's nefarious stuff going on with exchanges, with market makers, all of that. So always good to use limit orders so you're getting filled at your price. And Sean says GameStop and AMC, so I'll definitely go over those. Although I did just do the videos on them on Friday, so nothing too much to go over with them, nothing new. Hey, Jared, what's up? VMAR, I will add VMAR to the list as well. I assume that's Vision Marine Technologies. But yeah, I'm going to get back to the requests, and that is going over NNE, which I think is similar to, I would imagine I might, there was one that I had just gone over. I just made a video about. I think if I go up here, I can, it was, one that I had searched recently. Maybe I didn't search it on the, LTBR. So I'm just going to pull that up to see if it's kind of similar to the chart here. That one moved up a lot. That video is timed really well. I have to give the credit to Mac Attack for that. He was requesting it. And so, yeah, these seem very similar. So I feel like the video that I put out on LTBR might be useful for NNE. They are both nuclear plays as far as I understand. But it looks like, LTBR, this was, Friday on the 28th, came down almost 7.5%, whereas on Friday with NNE, which is Nano Nuclear Energy, this one went up 44.5%. Bullish engulfing candle. Nice volume on that move. It would be, let's see. So, there was this gap here. That gap's since been filled. This went up 3.5% in the after hours. So still going up. So 24.25 is what it closed at. The high for Friday was 25.68. So still below there. This doesn't have too much data. So it's kind of tough to, draw lines, have some conclusions from it. But I think that's kind of neat right there. That's just an approximate based on those two highs. That served as a very nice bounce. So that could have, been used as a level for, if it pulls back to that level, I'm going to dip by. Oh, now up 44.5%. Trim, take some profit, whatever. But let's see. One thing that we can do, since there is, not much data here, we can go from the low of 325 up to the high of 37.51. So I'm just going to do this Fibonacci retracement. And that lined up perfectly. That's pretty impressive. And yeah, so it should be all lined up to the penny. There's an ad coming up. I'm going to skip it. I don't find those to be too beneficial for live streams. I don't want to distract you guys or bother you guys with those. But also, too, very cool. This pulled back to the golden pocket here. So that is the range between the 65% retracement and the 618. That's referred to as the golden pocket. For whatever reason, stocks tend to pull back to that. Crypto tends to pull back to that. It's, I think, related to psychology and the Fibonacci sequence, stuff like that. And so really, you could think of it as prices return to the 618, but maybe they wick below. And so having an order right in the middle there in that golden pocket could be a nice thing. But now, it looks like we got rejected from the 382. That would be at a price of $24.42. So ideally, we're seeing closes Monday, Tuesday above $24.42. And really, it'd be nice to see closes above Friday's high, which, like I said, was $25.68. So I'd look for that, get some consolidation up here, because, what we don't want to see is a big down move and then consolidation. That's a bear flag. We're going to see that with these two down red candles, this gap down, but we fortunately got this bullish engulfing candle. And so from that, maybe we don't see closes above $24.42. $20.38, that's a 50% retracement. I could see a bull flag forming between these two levels. So maybe keep an eye out for that. But yeah, I think that I mean, I think that this is kind of risky. I think it's very risky because it's gone up 44.5% on one day. But, as long as volume sticks with it, and yeah, I mean, it could keep going. And there is also this uptrend based on these two pivot highs that could be serving as a guide. Maybe price resides up here, but then retests the uptrend around the 50% retracement, which is again at $28.38. So yeah, pretty cool chart. Just not that much data with it, so it's kind of hard to, really get a big picture view on it. But maybe that's kind of nice, simplifying the chart with just, one trend line and one Fibonacci retracement. So yeah, very cool. Hopefully that was helpful. PFA, I'll definitely be going over GameStop. Welcome for just joining. And I will, Quodwo, I will add NRSN as well. What's up, man? And so I got that on there. And I'm just going to try to go through all of the tickers that are on the list. And I'm going to make sure that I have them on the DGen Ed list. Just, I don't really look at that list too often. I usually just search for tickers if they're not in the request or whatever folder that I'm looking at. But yeah, I will now go over GOEV. It's been a while, so happy to do that, Sonata. Let's see here. GOEV. This looks pretty good, I would say. Did I just... yeah, I'm wondering when I put the last video out on it. I feel like it's been a little while. Can't remember. I'm actually going to see... Yeah, did I... Actually, I'm not going to check. I'm not going to check my phone. I feel like it's been a while since I've done a video on this, but I feel like I would have... Or maybe I did some analysis because clearly I drew this line down to that low there. And where's this? Oh, yeah. And this was a Fibonacci extension, kind of suggesting the high. So with that being said, would be really good to get above the 236 here, which is at $2 and about 29 cents. And then this is really just the low that was hit here on April 12th. That was at $2.07. That's what this orange line is here. So holding $2, so that's good. Although in the after hours, did see a pullback of about 4.23%. However, up on Friday over 7%. So looking good, even with that pullback, still looking good. So yeah, I mean, I'd be looking for holding $2 a share or holding 207, reclaiming 207 would be nice since that was a low over here. And really, I mean, if we, let's see, I'm just going to throw up the volume profile. Yeah, we see this volume shelf here right around where current price is. That's potentially going to be some tough resistance to get through because there were these lows over here. Those lows, maybe people bought there, held through these run-ups. But now, since price is broken below their prices, maybe they want to, offload or trim there, something like that. So it could be some resistance. And right now, although, we got to close above Thursday's high. So I think that's looking good. I think it's looking strong. Volume's going up. So I think that this is looking like it could potentially still be running. And also considering that, while there was a pullback in the after hours, I have a very tough time. I mean, it gets me, my emotions, whatnot, the psychology, seeing what's going on in the after hours in the pre-market. But I feel like a lot of times this is red in the after hours, even though it was a great green day, multiple great green days. So over the course of the week, let's take a look. Over the course of the week, we saw price go up 13.3%, so looking really good. And so pulling back about 4% in the after hours, that could just be market makers, whoever, large positions, just being able to influence the stock of the price by selling larger orders, getting people to panic, to then buy back at lower prices and for the rally to continue at open. So I wouldn't be too discouraged by this after hours down move. And another thing that stands out to me, I just drew that channel. I feel like I did recently do a Canoo video. Did I? I'm going to check my phone to see if there is one on there. I guess, I can't remember when I did one last. Oh, I did Rivian and Lucid. Yeah, so it's been a while since I've done a Canoo video. That's surprising. But there is this downtrending channel which, is really, it's a pretty macro thing. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to delete that because I think that there's a different channel that we have potentially broken out of. And yeah, I think that it looks pretty encouraging. I'm going to first draw it with the trend channel tool, and I will start it. Let's see. I'm going to do it based on the high here, so it bases it on the closes. And so if I do that up to Friday, that looks like we broke out of this downtrending channel. And so, it could always be a fake out break. We want to see, because we saw a wick up on Thursday, but a close still within that channel. However you draw this channel, you draw trend lines however you want. You want to get multiple touch points from the highs here, and through these wicks. And, I feel like you'd have a tough time arguing that Thursday's close was outside of that channel in any significant capacity. I would argue it wasn't. So you didn't really get a break out of that channel or really a break out of that channel until Friday when we closed clearly outside of it. And so that doesn't even, it includes the price action from Friday. So if I pull it back to Thursday, that's a clear break outside of that. If I'm just kind of manipulating it a little bit now, but excluding those green candles, Thursdays was pretty, on the line. So I wouldn't say that was a breakout. And so with that being said, what we want to see now is a close above Friday's high, which would be $2.15. I feel like that's potentially fairly likely, and that could act as a confirming close or signify confirmation of the breakout of this channel. That price is more likely to continue higher than to pull back. Although, even when you get confirmation, like I'm still kind of figuring out how to assess the charts based on that, because it goes higher, closes higher, maybe the next day it pulls back. And if it does, maybe that's a retest of the top of that channel as then acting as support. And that could be a bullish move following it if it bounces, but it could also break down. And then a breakdown would be, or confirming or negating any breakout, would be getting a close below Friday's low, I believe. And that would be $1.93. So yeah, I think the chart's looking pretty good. I'd look for more volume on Monday. It's a shortened holiday week. We have Thursday is the 4th of July. So there might be lighter volume. So do be aware of that. 11.72 million shares traded on Friday. So we want to see that going higher. And so to continue that breakout. So I think the chart looks really good. But, following these up moves, there's always a possibility. We see this channel that prices resided around, but it's also hung out around the midpoint quite a lot. And so what could happen if there is a rejection, there could be a pullback to that midpoint of that channel, and that could potentially correspond with like a double, or I guess you could say triple bottom there before really moving out higher. But I think it looks good. I like it. And I don't know if this is that significant at all, but if we do look at the RSI, we have been forming lower lows in the price. Actually, no. This is, looking at this in the shorter time frame, RSI here was low, but it got even lower over here. So that is, I think that's hidden bullish divergence. Bullish divergence would be when there are lower lows in the stock price and higher lows in the RSI, and we see the opposite of that. So that's hidden bullish divergence. And yes, but that could also just mean that there's going to be a 21% move, which we saw on Wednesday, and that continue up a little bit more. But yeah, I think it looks good. I think the chart looks nice. So but I'd look for continuation to the upside, closing above the high of Friday, 215, or maybe a pullback to 207, $2, testing that as support. And if that holds, then bouncing, going higher. So yeah, very cool chart. But I'm going to continue on. And let's see, Quoto is asking for Kraken as well. And so I got Kraken and GRI. And just so you guys know, this stream is going to be a little bit shorter than the normal ones. Like I usually go for like an hour and a half plus. I'm going to try to do just an hour tonight because I'm in all honesty not feeling that great. And I do want to watch House of the Dragon. So, PFA, I do see FJB as well. So we'll add that there. And so, yeah, I'll try to just continue to make progress on these. And so, Sweet Lovely, since I did just do a video on plug, let's see, my stance with it, it's a pretty detailed video. I go over what I would do. Since I'm getting ready to go on vacation in about a week, so I'm not thinking about putting too much money in the stocks or trying to save the money for going out and whatnot on vacation. And so I'm not planning on adding to my plug position. But if I was, I kind of go over the way I would do that in that video. So I'd recommend checking it out. But, my thought process is that on Friday, we got a bearish engulfing candle that engulfed the entire week's trading. Actually, the low that was hit on Monday was $2 and I believe 33 cents. Yep, and that's what we closed at on Friday. So I just think it's looking pretty weak in that sense. A lot of volume traded with this big bearish down move. So I think that retesting 225 is likely, and I could see $2 being on the table. So that's what I'm thinking about. And so I'd recommend checking out that video. I think it's a really cool one. I just go into basically how I would establish a position or add to my position using cash secured puts and just kind of talk about that. So I think it's a really good video. I recommend it. And so I'll leave you with that so I can get to the other tickers. And you also did request GROV. So I'll look at that one. Have not looked at it. And this looks like, let's see, if this is 1 for 5, so that's not too bad. I was going to say if that's 1 for 100, might not be so great. There hasn't been a long history of reverse split, so that's nice. But yeah, let's see. Maybe because there's this low over here, I don't know that there's much to be made with that. Yeah, I mean, maybe there's something, but this all gets to be kind of wishy-washy. Let's see. From that low, just being approximate. So yeah, we clearly broke below that, but maybe this low over here. So maybe, there's some potential support there. And, from that low, we can do, so that's 90.7, and this high is 440. Okay, so 90.7 and 440. Okay. And so we got that. See what that corresponds with as far as current price goes. Current price is right around the 786, which is $1.65.5. So above that right now, having gone up about 1% on the day, but did pull back about 1% in the after hours. That's just 2 cents, so nothing crazy. But yeah, 165.5. It'd be good for price to be holding that. I think that, there's not really too much to go off with this because it's just been sideways for so long. But, given that full range, we can see that the 786 was tested multiple times, did break below it over here, with that uptrend potentially acting as support. And so, yeah, I'd look for holds of 165.5, or you could just say 166. And let's see, maybe I could do just a smaller scale one here, retracement. So this is 37. I'm going to do this to the fraction of the penny. This is 439, so that's good, and that's 3702. So right there, and I might color that yellow so we don't get it confused with the other one. Yeah, it looks like 177.8 or 178 is the 382 from that. As you can see, many wicks up to that level, but have not seen any closes above it since coming all the way down here to 137. So I'd look for some closes above, at or above really 178. If that can happen, I think that looks pretty good. One thing that I guess is a little bit concerning is that, there was this gap up And with that, volume was pretty high. Price continued to go higher, but volume went down. So that suggests to me there is a lot of weakness there. But if it does break, I mean, it's tested this level. Let's see, how many wicks went up to that level? This high going back to, I guess that doesn't necessarily count because it was before the bottom here. But so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wicks up to that level. Maybe we're getting ready to see a break above it, and then that to serve as support. If we throw up the volume profile, as you can see, there is this nice volume shelf here. It does go up, to this point here, and actually, the volume average high is 185.1. That corresponds with those wicks, or that wick, that was hit on June 14th. So yeah, I mean, I think that getting some closes above those levels, there could be, some nice support right around current price, just a little bit lower, like around 175. That is current price considering after hours price, which is 175. But yeah, closes above 178. If it were to move up and then consolidate right around 185, I think that could be a really nice bull flag setup to then maybe break above the 50% level. That's at 190.5. So yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of potential with this, but also, I mean, you could look at this in another way, that this is a pretty big down move and it's consolidated. Maybe that's a bear flag. It's struggled really to get above these levels, but maybe the time is coming for it to break above them. And, with this consolidation, with this, it's kind of ugly. And actually, I'd say it's invalidated because there's a lower bit here, but I was thinking maybe there's an inverse head and shoulders pattern here forming. But, even if there isn't an inverse head and shoulders pattern, maybe there's just a cup and handle being formed, and that's potentially bullish. So, yeah, and now that I'm zoomed in on the chart, I'm realizing another trend line that could be drawn would be from the low here at 137, and then maybe just connect with some of these, you could do it with the low from May 20th, which was at a price of, let's see, 145. I'm just going to draw this one to the penny because I'm kind of curious. 145, no fractions of the penny allowed. All right, so locking that in place. And I'm just going to make this one orange just so it stands out. Maybe that's a level that we need to see getting respected. Maybe that corresponds with a pullback to the 236, which is around 162. That would be, at the beginning of August. So maybe this does go up, but maybe beginning of August comes back to test that level. So, yeah, I mean, just because it's going up right now doesn't mean that's going to always be going up. Things never go up in straight lines, so might be pulling back, retest some of this as support, and then continue higher. But yeah, I think it looks like a cool chart. Hopefully that stuff that I went over is useful. And yes, that was for Sweet Lovely. Yeah, so no problem there. You're welcome. And so GameStop and AMC for Sean. I will do that. I'm going to add this one to the DGen Ed list. Just remove it from here, though. And so, yeah, GameStop and AMC. I feel like AMC, I went over this in the video that I put out on Friday. I think AMC is looking pretty good. I mean, it's held the 786 on the linear y-axis scale the whole time. It did get a couple days, really, I guess, a few days below it. Let's see, two closes below it. Basically, just two closes below it. Whereas if we look at the GameStop chart, I guess now it is holding the 786, but it did look not so great below it. And so, I mean, I think that, and the GameStop video that I just put out, the thumbnail of it includes a screenshot of one of Roaring Kitty's video memes where there's the dog emoji that he tweeted out on, I think it was Thursday. And that dog emoji was featured in a video that he posted. It was the one, I think it's like a Missy Elliott song. And then there's this stream of emojis going across the screen, and they're all in color, but then it gets to these two eyes looking like it's going across the screen, and it's like two eyes looking to the right. So like at the new emojis coming across, and that's black and white. And then there's the dog, and then there's American flag with music and a microphone, all in black and white, and then another set of eyes looking, all in black and white. And then when they get onto the screen, the dog and the flag go to color. And so I think that might be suggesting maybe that Roaring Kitty maybe was predicting the Chewy and or WOOF moves, and just following that would be 4th of July. And so maybe with that, maybe leading up to or over the holiday, we will be seeing some violent moves, maybe corresponding with the start of the Star Spangled Banner, and get some violent moves closing on Wednesday to continue into Friday over that holiday on Thursday. And so, maybe we see some fireworks in the week for GameStop, or so GameStop here or AMC. So I'm just excited about both of them for this week, for the month of July. And I think I did. I'm just going to remove the drawings here real quick. Just going to look at the monthly chart. And so this, that is a spinning top. It's red. So maybe that suggests with AMC that we'll see a pullback. And there is this gap I guess, because we closed here. No, we filled that gap because we came down to that low. So that looks good. No gap there. So I don't know. Looking at this, it makes me think maybe it's going to come back, but it did. I'm going to have those drawings up so it's a little cluttered, but looking at this, we tested breaking out of this downtrending channel. This is on the monthly time frame. So, I think that's good. And then I'll switch over to GameStop to look at that monthly. I went over this more in the video. I think closed higher than May's close. So I think that looks good. I'm if GameStop's moving, I think AMC is going to be moving as well. The quarter just ended. Movies have been performing pretty well. I don't think anybody likes that AMC is in debt, and whereas contrary to that, GameStop has no debt. They have billions of dollars in cash. I'd really like to see AMC not push that debt back further. Prioritize it. Let's get that debt off the table. But maybe that's something that could happen once we get some moves to the upside, because I don't think that we should be raising capital or anything like that when price is this low. And, maybe in July, I suspect we could be seeing price going pretty high. And one thing, I'm actually, let's see. Well, there's this video. I was thinking about how I could, it's a screenshot that I took that's on my phone of a video that I posted on the channel. It was from Free Wyckoffs, I believe. Just posted a video that's music with the AMC chart, and he basically just been tracking it. Pointed out, I don't know Fibonacci, the Wyckoff analysis well at all, but in his drawing, he's suggesting that from this, I guess, retracement, which would be a Fibonacci, price would be going up to 40, which is the 1618. 164, which is the 2618, or 674 about, which is the 3618. So I don't know how accurate that's going to be, because I know that analysis doesn't always play out like that. But if we could see price going up to above $12 in July, I think that'd be excellent, and I think that's definitely feasible for AMC. GameStop, I think GameStop could be seeing new all-time highs. So pretty exciting to see what happens with both stocks over the course of July. So not necessarily during this upcoming week, although I think it will be, hopefully will be exciting. But if not, I do think that July will probably be a good month, as we kind of got a cool off month in June. So July, I think, will be exciting. So hopefully that's a nice addition to the videos I just recently put out on those. And so now I will go over Jared's request of VMAR. So let's take a look over there. And so, and I got about 10 minutes left before I end the stream. So I'm going to try to catch up on all this stuff. And hey, and I'm going to catch up on the comments actually real quick. I'm liking GROV, the 4-hour and daily is looking good. So Quoto, hopefully that analysis that I just did on it was helpful for you. But I think it was looking pretty good too. And happy Sunday, Horatio. Glad to see AMC and GameStop hit max pain. last week. Yeah, when GameStop hit, I'll just go over this real quick before I get into VMAR. Sorry. When GameStop, I mean, this stands out to me. I have a bad habit of selling covered calls, which very dangerous with these going up now. But so what I was doing is when price closed May 3rd, I can just look at the chart and I see it closed. May 3rd was a Friday. I remember the day. Closed at a price of $16.47. I had some covered calls with a strike of $16. And I, not the best decision for me there, but, it is what it is. And that stuck out to me because the max pain for that Friday was $11 a share. So we closed over $5 above that max pain. And so I feel like that plus a number of other things, I think that's, I don't know how useful really looking at max pain is, because that's like basically a derivative of a derivative. Like the derivative is the options table, and the max pain is like a derivative of that. And so, I mean, I viewed that as, I've, made mistakes in the past. I'm going to own this one. But in the meantime, I'm just going to like double down, go heavier in AMC. Because I, wanted to wait for the, let's see, what's it called? The wash sale window to pass. Thinking that, price might go up, but then it might come down. And it hasn't come back down to 16. I've been adding, smaller positions now, unfortunately, but been adding on dips. And I think that this, when it closed at 16, above 16, $5 above the max pain, that was like, whoa, stuff's going crazy. And so right now, I mean, while we're consolidating, this I think is really just time to kill options because there's theta decay in them. The more time that price is flat, the more market makers make on premium and whatnot, and the more people lose money. And so as this goes sideways, there's just really, it's just like a powder keg. It's just building up and it's going to be breaking out. And from one of Roaring Kitty's sign videos, there was, it's a cornfield with the GameStop logo, the power button. And that was, basically a large logo, a smaller logo corresponding with these peaks. And then the next one was gigantic. And so I think that's going to be suggesting that, I mean, we saw, when we closed well above max pain here, I think that there's still, going to be the repercussions of that in how this goes to the upside. And so really just like the way that this is consolidating to the side, that's, I imagine, just shorts wanting to bring this down lower, closing positions, whatnot. We saw that with Citron Research. They closed their short position, or at least they said they did. And I think that this is just going to, skyrocket because people probably want, or those firms, whatever, the bad actors want price to be back below $11. So yeah. But yeah, so hopefully that's helpful. Yes, and Horacio saying, I keep hearing that they will squeeze within next month to September. So yeah, I mean, like given time frames on these, it can be pretty tricky. But yeah, I did post on, there's one, yeah, I've been seeing stuff basically, yeah, between now and September. But I think that with both of them, it could be like incremental squeezes to the upside. And so maybe we see a violent squeeze that, or move, I should say, that goes beyond 65 during market hours, goes to 80 during market hours, but maybe pulls back and we just see like kind of stair steps going up. So I think that'd be, much healthier than this like skyrocketing to 1,000, because then it would collapse after that, But yeah, I mean, I think that for me, what I'm trying to do is like I've shifted most of my focus as far as my portfolio goes, really to like looking at options and doing cash secured puts, but also just to like trying to build up my position in AMC, which is much larger than GameStop. And thinking about that, I believe at these prices, my GameStop position is in the green. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to be adding too aggressively. I think actually it's very small. But 21.69, I think my average is 21.66. So like if it dips to 21.69, I'll add another share. I usually do share increments But, if it pulls back to that, if it pulls back to 1770, or I think, I think the close here was 1747. That's a gap there. So if it does come down to that, that could be a spring. Like if we see violent moves to the downside, that could be a spring before a violent move to the upside, way surpassing this. So if that happens, try to keep the cool. Don't panic. And it might be good to, have some limit orders if, price dips down to these levels, have those get filled. And that goes the same with AMC. If there's a violent drawdown in price, maybe a couple days later, we start to see it rocket because that's a spring before the launch, which comes from Wyckoff, but I'm not an expert on that by any means. But yeah, that spring is like a liquidity grab. It's like liquidating anybody who like has a stop loss at 1770, dropping below that like to 1643, 46. I always want to say 43 to fill that gap, liquidates people with this having a stop loss. And then from that, those who are short can then go long, launching it higher. So keep that in mind. It's like, kind of like a tug and war type of game there. But yeah, sorry, I will get back to VMAR. I kind of bailed on that. Looking at this, let's see. This is looking a little bit discouraging. Let's see. Especially it did, went up almost 20% on Friday, pulled back more than 5% in the after hours. But what stands out to me with this is, I'm just going to do the channel to start, and I will do it actually. Let's see, where do I want to do this from? Maybe I'll do it from, it's like arbitrary where I start it from, but this is like, red candle over there. Potentially have a breakout from this, with these channels, price does tend to reside around the midpoint, acting either as support or resistance. And so we were just hanging out at that level. And maybe this is the breakout move. So I guess I would look for, move, $1, that's a psychological level. That's going to be a tough one to get above. Also, here, let's see, what was that high? That was 101 hit on February 15th, high of 101. Wick above it, open at a price of 98 cents, but got a bearish engulfing candle there relative to the doji from the day before, which was an open and a close at 90 cents. So yeah, I think that I'd look for this to continue up to $1 a share, likely to be met with resistance there. If it is met with resistance there, I would then look for a retrace to the scene of the crime, which from this picture would be pulling back to test that top of that channel as support, and then from there could potentially go higher. And yeah, and on the way up to $1 a share, the high was $75.95 on Friday. And so that is potentially the top. And so maybe we get wicks above $75.95, getting wicks above but closes below. That is just to give people hope, to give retail hope that it will be going higher. But if it's not closing higher, it doesn't mean anything. It's just, all people are offloading shares up there. That's drawing the price down once it gets up there. So yeah, I'd look for that. I'd look for a continuation in price higher along with volume. Volume was 3.3 million shares traded on Friday. Might be kind of tough to beat considering that price has not, or volume has not been that high. So yeah, that's kind of peculiar. So I'd keep a close eye on this one. But I could see there being a drawdown. There was, I guess, no gap. This gap was filled. These gaps are, filled. This one was not, though. That would be a gap to around 53 cents. The close on Wednesday was 52.51. But yeah, this, I think, one to be cautious with just because this massive amount of volume is pretty odd. And it's Vision Marine Powers up, electric boat rentals, market cap of 8.5 million. So yeah, pretty risky in that sense. But yeah, I'd keep an eye on this. Don't want to be getting closes within this downtrending channel, which I'll include that day. But But yeah, potentially looks really good. If it does pull back into it, I'd look for that midpoint around 50 cents to be acting as support. Maybe there's a double bottom form there. But yeah, cool chart. Hopefully that was helpful. But I'm going to, let's see, move that to DGen Ed, remove that from the request list. And I'm just going to check up on the comments, see what you guys are saying. And I've been looking at, Bruce has been looking at LICY. I'll add that here, but since it is 9, this is probably going to be the last of the requests that I take. So I'll just go through here. And Bruce is saying I've been looking at LICY. If it drops to 17, buy, baby, buy. So I'll look at that once I get to it. Hopefully Roaring Kitty doesn't get too hurt from him being sued. I'll buy more GME and support. Yeah, I imagine that. I mean, it's what I had a tweet about how basically the first few days that he was tweeting, none of his tweets mentioned GameStop. None of them said anything about GameStop. They were just images or, videos. And I think there's an argument that, the price was artificially inflated or, pumped or whatever by Roaring Kitty. And it's like, what? I'm sorry, what pansies? We're supposed to be apes. We're supposed to be in this community together, learning together, holding together, all of that. And this person's complaining about price went up to $80 and then pulled back. It's like, bro, chill out. Like, wait for the next move up. Like, it's going to happen. Like, this going up to, 80. That was during the after hours. This person probably bought at 80, This person should not be filing lawsuits right now. They should be buying shares. The person's an idiot. And I can't imagine that they're going to have a strong case against him. And if they do, they're losers. So don't be like those people. I'm going to drink some water. Oh, man. All right. Yeah, and PFA, I definitely agree that I think it's going to backfire on them. Just because somebody's getting sued doesn't mean that, they're going to have to owe the person who's suing them money. It just means they're going to go to court about it. That's a waste of Roaring Kitty's time, and it's just like a very pathetic move to be making retail. That's infighting. I made an AMC video. The thumbnail was, on maximum infighting. If we're starting to sue each other, maybe we're getting to that maximum infighting point. So maybe that means that the bottom is near if we're seeing, I feel like that lawsuit, is probably more than likely a bottom indicator. You got to think about it like that. Whenever there's bad news, it's irrational. It's somebody being emotional because they're stupid. And that's a bottom indicator. So I think we're seeing fireworks in July, both stocks. That's my thesis. And I might very well be wrong, but if I'm wrong, I'm just going to add more. So I don't care. The more time that these stocks are down, the better for me. And so let's see. I went over GROV. And AMC GameStop. Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah. Because I did go over Canoo, right? I did go over this. Yeah, I just went over this. So I can delete that. Oh, GRI. I don't know what this is. Did somebody request GRI? I'm not seeing all the comments here. Let's see. Okay, so I skipped some. That's why So I did VMAR, I just went over from Jared. QUODWO, NRSN. So I did have the chart there. Yeah, so this is looking pretty good because it did break out, it looks like, from, this downtrending channel. And just so you guys know, if you are tuning in and you're requesting new stocks, I'm not going to add any more requests to go over just because I don't want to be up too late. I got work early and I'm not really feeling that well, and I want to watch House of the Dragon. But yeah, this going all the way to the end, that looks like a breakout from that. And yeah, you can that looks, I mean, pretty nice. Want to see close, another close above. So it's like we got to close above this high, but this is like the one that's breaking out. I mean, you could argue though that if I just do a trend line, pretty casual line here, there's some resistance there. This is a pretty massive breakout. I mean, I could see a pullback to 90, 92 cents. Also, getting above $1, there's going to be some resistance there, but this did close the month. Let's look at the monthly candles. That's a bullish engulfing candle. This is a bottom signal. I'm going to mute my mic for 1 second because I got to clear my throat. I've been having the toughest time with my throat lately. This looks like a bottoming signal. This is on the monthly time frame. We got a nice big wick down here. This is like a flush, going below these lows from the previous month. That was May. Bullish engulfing candle, engulfing the prior 2 months. I could see this, having a little bit of a pattern like that or something. And this is a breakout. I could see this going up to, let's see, where might there be some resistance? Just looking at the chart here, so just kind of a rough assessment. With the lows over here, this consolidation, that would be right around $1.25. I could see it going up there, bumping into some resistance there. I could see it bumping into some resistance around 140, the lows over here. I could also see this going up to 182 or going past $2. If we look at the volume profile, we are looking like we're starting to get into some resistance, and so that's going to correspond with the consolidation over here. And so, yeah, if the volume continues into the new month, I mean, I think this looks really good to me. I just think the chart looks really nice. So if maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, this right here just looks really, really good. And yeah, I mean, this is up nearly 100% from the low. Went up, let's see how much over the course of the month. Oh, that's 60%. Why is that 60%? Going from 70. This 100 would be, yeah, 140. But yeah, like 69, that's around 60. And it's, I was thinking 120. I saw the 20 here. I was thinking 120, 112. But yeah, that's a really nice move there. That's the, wait, that was the weekly. Okay, so sorry, that was the weekly. That was the weekly. Not the monthly. I'm an idiot. Looking at the monthly. Dang it. I'm sorry. I was looking at the weekly there. Looking at the monthly. Remove those drawings. Yeah, I mean, that's a dragonfly doji hammer candle at the base of this down move. Looks really good. I think that this has potential to be getting up to $2 a share, but maybe there's a pullback or something along those lines. So always be good to be cautious when there's such a big move to the upside. Can't clear my throat. But yeah, so hopefully that was helpful. And so I will, I'm going to add this to the DGen ed list. And actually, I'm going to check on the comments to make sure there's not some follow-ups. Hey, Sean, what's up? Good night. Thanks for joining. And let's see. And so I was just looking at NRSN, so I don't see any follow-ups from Quodwo. Hopefully that was helpful. But I do also see the request to go over Kraken and GRI. So I'll do those quickly. Kraken, they recently had this reverse split, 1 for 150. I had a very small position in this, but I got rid of, my share position was too small to, yeah, I don't know. Actually, I don't know what happened. No, I think I just didn't want to deal with the 1 for 150 reverse split and getting my shares to be the right amount. So I think I just offloaded at a loss. I just didn't want to deal with it. But yeah, looking at these daily candles, does look like a bottom could be in 337. And, this is, Although, this inverted hammer, we got a big green move on Thursday up 35%. Doesn't look like much, relative to these down moves. So that's something to keep in mind. But with that, following that big up move, 35%, we got this inverted hammer candle that suggests a reversal. And so also, with that being said, volume's lower, so maybe that's not such a bad thing because volume's lower. Price went up, price came down, but it wasn't like a massive sell-off or anything, so maybe that's good. I'm still, in all honesty, I'm still learning, still improving my volume analysis. But yeah, if this was like a massive thing in volume, oops, I don't want that. And then this were to like be coming down, so like a full red bar encapsulating this, engulfing this prior candle, I think that could be bad. So yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm wondering if this is a topping signal, but really there was a wick higher than the previous day's high, couldn't get a close above it, not even above that high. So I feel like this might be settling out maybe around $4. So I could see that. And then maybe from there, it starts to find a bottom to move higher. But also, there's this multiple, I guess this gap was filled. So this close, ads coming up, so I'm just going to skip it. So this close was at $5.75. What was the high on Friday? $5.74, but it is, let's see, it's gone up in the after hours, but it's like $4.51. But then there's also this gap here. This close was $7.50. So there's some gaps to the upside, but with this pattern, I would think that it's likely to pull back to around $4. So maybe that's a good dip buying level, or at least maybe a good level to add at or start to average into around there. That's what I would look for. So hopefully that's helpful. And that should be on the DGen Ed list. Just going to delete it. And then I got a request for GRI. This gap down, this is a 1 for 13 reverse split. I hate it when they're odd number reverse splits. Just so annoying. Like do 1 for 10 or 1 for 20. This has been in, let's see how significant this is. Downtrending channel. I'm going to just do it from this big red candle day up to current price. See how that looks. Yeah, price has been residing in that. Looks like it broke down. Could be finding support around the midpoint, as the midpoint was support here. If price were to come down to the bottom of that channel, that'd be coming down to around 75 cents, maybe lower. So good to be cautious about that. But with this gap here, let's see. Yeah, and the thing too, there's this gap down, volume's elevated. Volume's elevated here when these red candle days, but with that elevated volume, price is able to hold here. And so there's, a lot of trading needing to go into keeping these at the same price, basically, or, right around here. And then there's not much volume traded on Friday. Price goes up a little bit. It's green, for the candle, but it's actually down 2% relative to the previous day's close. So this looks pretty weak. This to me looks like this green candle, while there's a gap there, if I switch over to the 4-hour time frame, what we see is a big down move and consolidation. So this to me looks like a bear flag, and I think that this is going to test the interior of the red part of this channel. So I don't think this looks good. But, with that being said, I could be wrong, and maybe this tests the top of the channel, but it did just get rejected from the top of it. And so I think that looks like, this is like, I don't usually use the rectangle tool, but, this flagpole, basically from there. And then we got the flag here. That's going to break lower. So doesn't look so good in my opinion, but maybe it's a good risk reward for you guys. So add that to the list there. But yeah, I don't think it looks like it's worth it. And I just went over this one as an example. And so LICY, and I did put up FJB, which doesn't look like it's trading. So I need to look up that. Quote, hopefully that was helpful, what I just went over. And let's see, FJB. I looked up that, but it didn't seem to be anything. FJB. Yeah, so I do have that. What's FJ? Maybe it's FJP? Let's see. That would be Japan. So PFA, let me know what FJB is, and I'll look it up. But I screwed it up here. Not sure what it is. And so I will go over, let's see, LICY, and then I'm going to close the stream down so I can watch some dragons and get some sleep. This continued beyond, what I was thinking here. And so with that being said, I mean, it's kind of like, trading. I was just drawing those channels. This has been trading and kind of looks like it's fanning out a little bit. Like I draw ray from the low here. And, I guess, I don't know how valid this is. I could do it from right around the low there. And yeah, so I mean, I could see it testing that, maybe coming back to $6. That'd be like testing the scene of the crime, which was the high here. We got a breakout above it on the 24th. So that was Monday, when went up nearly 30% on the day. Although, what I'm talking about, just a bear flag a second ago, massive green move, massive green candle up nearly 30% on the day, consolidation over here. That could be a bull flag. But the thing that stands out to me as being precarious about this bull flag, might stand out to you, is we get a nice big move, a pretty big surge in volume relative to kind of the norm over here. So that's looking pretty good. We've seen a lot of volume traded as price is going higher, so that's looking good. And then price gets up to here, volume cools off a little bit, we start to consolidate, so not looking too bad. I would think more volume would push it higher. But then we get a lot of volume here, and price actually drops pretty notably on Friday, coming down almost 6.5% on the day, up almost 2% in the after hours, but still down a lot. And so, with that being said, $6, I think that's going to be key. Don't want to see any closes below that. If it does close below that, I could see it retesting this uptrend as support. That could be a great dip buying opportunity, but it's kind of looks like it's leaning at that point, so maybe it would tumble over. But if let's see, I'm just gonna, rather than draw it or extend it up, I'm just gonna adjust the numbers. So the low was 277, got that there, and then the high here, I'm gonna change that to 753 to correspond with the wick high over here. That's conveniently marked there, so it's very easy for me to draw that. And so here, we can see the 236 is at $6.41. Let's keep that level. Let's hold that level. If we don't, though, if we break lower, the 382 is at $5.71. And yeah, that does correspond with the open from the 20th of June. That was at a price of $5.72, just a penny above that. And so I could see that as acting as support if price does, I mean, yeah, this is just the rectangle tool that I never use, but we could see price, come back to that level. This is basically the 4th, which is a holiday. So while that's on the chart now, that will be omitted once it's registered as a holiday here. And so that will actually be the 5th, because we have the 3rd here. This is the 5th. The 5th would correspond with 571, intersecting with that uptrend. So what I would do with this, if I was holding it and I was in the green, I'd trim. I'd take some profits, but I wouldn't trim everything because this could be a bull flag. This could go higher. But if it pulls back, I would want to add. I mean, because 641, that's basically what current price is, right around there. I wouldn't want to add there. I'd want to wait for 571 or maybe 575. And that would correspond with testing this uptrend, testing that level, horizontal level from the Fibonacci retracement. And so that would make me think, and that's also testing, the support over here from that open on the 20th. that would make me think that, the kind of confluence of those levels, that would potentially be a good dip buy, or at least, if trimmed up here, let's see, I'm just going to get a measurement down from current price. If we're to trim at the price that it closed at, 653, price is currently above that, and it pulled back. This is a 12%, 12.5% move to the downside. So one could trim at current price and then buy back those shares at a 12.5% discount at $5.71. But if that doesn't happen and it is a bull flag, it breaks to the upside, you're still holding on to those shares. So I think that this is like position to maybe go higher, but I think that I'd be more intrigued if it pulled back to this uptrend. I just think is really interesting with the 382 there. But if, again, that doesn't hold and it breaks lower, the 50% is at 515. And that, just thinking about dollars, $6 is right in between there. So maybe there's something with that. Volume profile, we see the volume point of control right here, which is based on this time frame. So if I, adjust the window, that changes. But that is right around that 382, which is at 562. So yeah, I'd look for a pullback before adding. It's a dollar discount basically. So I think that looks pretty cool. Nice chart. And so Quoto agrees. So I think it looks really nice. And Bruce is saying, thank you so much for helping me learn and understand my choices. You're going to make an amazing channel. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Just like I say at the beginning of every video, it's just me having fun doing this. And one thing that I've started doing, which maybe makes videos too long and less accessible, but I've really been enjoying exploring the options table. And while I'm probably not going to do it for July, I'm going to probably continue to explore options. I might get an unusual whales account, or at least pay for a subscription for August and see how that goes. And so I might do some streams exploring that. Maybe I'd make those members only streams. And then I could maybe apply what I learned from that to some videos that would be available to everybody. But yeah, there are just so many tools, whether it's doing technical analysis, looking at, I don't tend to use moving averages too much. Sometimes those are helpful. They just clutter the chart for me. Like here, if I were to throw up the moving averages here, it really distorts the chart, because I think that the 200-day is really useful, but it's way up here. So it just screws up the axis because it's, up there. So I don't really use the moving averages too much. But yeah, I really enjoy the Fibonacci's, trend lines, just thinking about levels that make sense, the volume profiles, and really just like the psychology behind what traders are doing, what retail is doing, why people are selling at the levels that price drops at, why it's going up, why people are buying, and I think options is just like another layer of data, but it's a little tough to dive into. So I expect, I've got to be figuring out how to, not only do I keep up with the demand for doing all these videos, but how do I make them more engaging? How do I add more value? And so while paying for a subscription to Unusual Whales, I try to not put too much money into the channel. I think that'd be a worthwhile investment to kind of explore for August, because I'm going on vacation and also have some family visiting in July. So not going to be a good month to be too productive, but August, I think I could be really productive. And maybe, I think it's about $40 for an Unusual Whale subscription. I think, maybe that would be reflected in the performance in the channel that might pay for itself. So we'll see about that. But yeah, I'm glad that you all are able to, learn from my learning, and hopefully you can apply the type of stuff that I do here to your own charts to just make better decisions. And always, when stuff goes up, like right here with this example that Life Cycle Holdings, LICY, Licycle Holdings, is up, let's see, from the lows here to the highs that were hit, 166%. When stuff's up this much, can always be great to just diamond hand and hold for the next 100%, but it can also be a really good idea to take half of it off the table, so then you're not at risk of losing any of the money you initially put in, you get that back, and then so that money is either, set aside to be safe, or to be able to buy back on dips. And so always good to manage risk, and everybody does it differently. And I find one of the things that's really interesting about charting, about trading, is that everybody's psychology is very different. Everybody panics a little bit differently, gets FOMO or euphoria a little bit differently. And so, yeah, always good to be looking at this from the perspective of, how would I handle that? And charting always helps me, if I feel like I'm panicking, if something's dropping, it's like, no, it's going to bounce, and then I'll wait for that, and then I'll trim then, or I'll, just keep holding. So yeah, but with that being said, I've gone about 25 minutes over than what I was expecting. I'm going to throw this up. So if you guys have not already liked the stream, enjoy the channel, make sure you like the videos, always share your thoughts, whether in the live chat during the streams or in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos and streams like that. I do Sunday streams, at 9 p.m. Eastern every week. I might not do the Sunday when I'm on vacation, but I'll try to do something, and I will be doing little shorts for subscribers or for members of the channel when I'm away. But I'm probably going to be kind of tuning out for the most part. But yeah, thank you so much for joining. I'll try to add timestamps to this, but I want to get to watching some dragons and stuff. But yeah, take care, you guys. Have a great night, great start to the week. And, maybe I'll be doing another stream during the week because of the holiday. What show are you about? Oh, I'm about to watch House of the Dragon. It's like the Game of Thrones spin-off or whatever. Yeah, I think that there might be a battle in tonight's episode, so I'm kind of excited about that. But yeah, some stabbing, of people and dragons and stuff, and some fire. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm excited about that show. So the way that if you guys are curious, the way that YouTube pays creators is that it's based on a monthly threshold, and every month, if a channel makes less than $100, they don't get paid that month. That money just rolls over into the next month until they meet $100, and then they get paid. So I'm all set for June. I've crossed the threshold. Basically, when I put out that GameStop exercising options video, that video is the most successful one, 9.5 thousand views, so pretty cool. But with me being on vacation and having family visiting in July, I'm going to have a tough time meeting that threshold. So I'm going to try to crank out a bunch of videos this week. And so, yeah, I want to make sure I watch my show tonight so I can make some more videos tomorrow. But yeah, if you guys haven't seen Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon, I'd recommend the first, the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones and some episodes beyond that. But they really kind of flopped to the end of the show. Dan and Dave, man, they dropped the ball. But anyways, I am going to get on with my evening to watch that, relax a little bit, get some sleep before work tomorrow. I hope you guys have a great start to the week. And yeah, I'll be putting out at least, hopefully 2 videos tomorrow evening, but at least 1. So look for that, and I'll talk to you guys then. Take care. And I'll try to respond to comments while I'm at work. I know I'm behind on that a little bit. But yeah, take care, you guys. Have a nice night.